I was at Jake's birthday party when his childhood crush got the most embarrassing punishment during a game. She had to publicly confess her feelings to the ugliest, most antisocial guy in school. Her face paled as she looked up, pitiful and panicked. "Jake, I don't want to do this," she whispered. That was when Jake pointed straight at me. "Lucy can do it instead." He said it so casually, so confidently, as if he already knew I wouldn't dare refuse. After all, I'd always been his little shadow. I squeezed my fingers together under the table. My chest tightened. This was it, the final test. 2 years ago, Nick, my boyfriend, had taken a flight overseas. We'd grown up in the same foster home, shared the same dreams, and loved each other since childhood. But that plane crashed into the ocean, and he went missing. I cried until I couldn't breathe. The very next day, a strange system appeared and bound me to Jake. It told me Jake was the main character of some book, and I was to play the role of the desperate side character who clung to him. If I stayed by his side and fulfilled every demand, then when the story ended, my wish would be granted. Nick would return to me. But honestly, this so-called final task was beyond irritating. Confessing your feelings should come from the heart, not from some twisted game. And what if Nick did come back? What would he think if the first thing he saw was me confessing to another man? Unfortunately, the system didn't give me the luxury of choice. I could only look up and ask, as calmly as I could manage, "What if I don't want to confess either?" Jake barely looked at me when he threw the question back, like my feelings didn't matter. "Are your thoughts important?" he asked. Yeah, my voice was small, but I nodded. After a long pause, I pushed myself to my feet. "Fine." Almost immediately, the system's cold voice echoed in my head. Final test, number 99 initiated. Upon completion, the host will automatically be unbound from the main character Jake. Wishing you success. Jake leaned back with a smirk. "Okay, good luck." The guys around us grinned, their eyes lighting up like they were about to enjoy a show. Laughter spread. "Lucy, he's so ugly. Can you really say it with a straight face? If Tyler accepts, you can't back out. Let's make a group chat to monitor your relationship." Haha, so cruel. But I just stood there listening. For the past 2 years, I'd been nobody, just Jake's little shadow. Always following him, always at his beck and call. And now, I was supposed to confess in his crush's place. Pitiful, wasn't I? But deep down, no one was more relieved than me. As long as the task was completed, the rest didn't matter. So I kept my expression calm, unbothered by their mockery. When the noise finally died down and I turned to leave, Emma suddenly called out. "Lucy," she said softly, "I'm really sorry to trouble you."
She held something out to me.
A jar of folded paper stars, the birthday gift I had given her earlier. "Here, take this back." I froze. The stars. I'd made them for Jake, because of something he'd said. We'd been watching a movie in English class, and in one scene the female lead folded a star for the male lead. She told him, "If you give this to someone, the stars will bless you to stay together forever." Jake had leaned toward me that day and whispered, "Lucy, make me a jar too." That had been his 98th request. It wasn't hard to do, but the stars had meaning to me. Still, I'd done it. I gave the jar to Emma because Jake had asked for it, even though I never wanted to in the first place. Now she was returning it. I forced a smile, took the jar back, and said, "Perfect. I might need it for tomorrow's confession." I didn't believe in any forever together blessings. But when Jake suddenly looked up, his eyes fixed on me, there was something unreadable in them. Like he was trying to figure out whether I was serious or just pretending. Unfortunately for him, it didn't matter. After this confession, Jake and I would have nothing to do with each other again. And that wasn't a lie. Later that day, the advisor posted in the class group chat. Tyler's flight arrived early. I'll formally introduce him at this afternoon's department meeting. Remember, our school values respect and integrity. I don't want to see any bullying or exclusion. Of course, right after that, one of Jake's friends created a group chat, adding me and posting, "Lucy, Tyler's coming.
Get ready."
Why not confess during the meeting? Haha. It was obvious. The chat was made purely for drama. Those rich kids had their own circles. They'd never included me before. This was the first time, and only because I was entertainment. By afternoon, Emma even posted on social media, "First department meeting, please Lucy, do it." She tagged me directly. Comments flooded in. "Please do it. What's happening? Did I miss something?" She probably thought with all this publicity, I wouldn't be able to back out. The whole school buzzed with anticipation, waiting for the show. Before class, someone peeked down the hall and then shouted, "The advisor's coming." There's a guy with him, tall in black, and he looks... One of Jake's friends turned toward me, his voice deliberately loud. "Lucy, Tyler's here. Go on." The words hit me like a shove. My heart skipped. I turned back, annoyance flashing in my chest. Jake lounged in the back row, his lips curved into an ambiguous smile. I caught the slight movement of his mouth, almost as if he were whispering, "You can still back out now, Lucy." For a heartbeat, I froze. Confusion rattled inside me. Then Emma shoved me from behind. I stumbled forward, nearly losing my balance, and collided straight into the man who had just walked through the door. A faint, cold pine-like scent brushed past me, sharp and oddly familiar. He stood tall, draped in a black wool coat that made his frame look even more imposing. "This is our new student. Just returned from abroad," the advisor announced, his voice echoing through the classroom. "Tyler."
Ding.
The metallic chime of the system rang in my head. Task reminder. Confess.
Right.
It shouldn't be too difficult. Just a confession. Afterward, I could apologize sincerely, explain it was all a misunderstanding, and move on. That was the plan. But when I opened my mouth, the words I had rehearsed refused to come out. The man looked down at me. Thin, gold-rimmed glasses framed his eyes. His nose bridge was high, sharp, his expression cool. And beneath his right eye, a small red birthmark. My world tilted. It was him, the person I had been waiting for all this time.
Nick.
So this is what reunion feels like after years of separation. Panic, disbelief, the mind fogging over, fingers trembling as if they no longer belonged to me. The advisor frowned slightly. "Lucy? What's wrong?" Behind me, I could feel dozens of eyes boring into my back, my classmates whispering, waiting for me to make a fool of myself. But I didn't care. My chest swelled, tears stung my eyes, and before I knew it, they were slipping down my face. "I've missed you so much," I whispered, voice breaking. His expression softened. Slowly, he lifted a hand, his palm warm against the back of my head, and drew me into his arms. The scent of pine and home surrounded me. "I'm sorry I'm late," he murmured, his voice still as gentle and deep as I remembered. His breath brushed against my ear. "Do you still love me?" My reply came muffled against him. "What do you think? No matter if you're Tyler or Nick, feelings like this, they're not that easy to change." In my mind, the system's final message rang out. "Congratulations to the host for completing this simple supporting character task. May your future be blessed with the love you longed for, brave enough to face the storms, steady enough to keep pressing forward." The name Tyler spread across the campus, like a sudden rainstorm. Someone started a thread on the school forum, demanding to know who had spread the rumor that the returning transfer student was hideously ugly. A blurry side photo appeared, Tyler walking out of the library, a bag slung casually over one shoulder. Sunlight fell across him, half in brightness, half in shadow.
Look at this.
If this is ugly, then 99.9% of the guys at our school aren't worth looking at. Damn, he's handsome. Handsome and cold. Only Jake can compare. Why do all the good-looking ones study finance? Anyone know if he has a girlfriend? Before long, someone uploaded a photo from the grade meeting, the moment I stumbled into Tyler. Another thread bloomed instantly. "Forget it, ladies. This guy confessed on his first day and she said yes. The girl's a classmate. You're too late. Love at first sight doesn't last anyway." Comments poured in, sharp and mocking. She used to follow Jake around like a dog. Now she's clinging to Tyler? Bet they won't last a week. Tyler's just playing along. She looks okay, but she's not worth it. I had endured so much hostility and exclusion over the years that I'd grown numb. Their words slid past me. I scrolled for a while, then tossed my phone aside. I didn't care. And I knew Tyler wouldn't either. We had grown up together. Trust like ours wasn't so easily shaken. When I lifted my eyes, he was right there beside me, his hand wrapped firmly around mine. At the convenience store outside the library, he looked around curiously, almost like a kid. "Lucy, do you remember these little things? Back in the orphanage, weren't they treasures to us?" I laughed softly. Since the confession, we had been practically inseparable. Classes, the library, the cafeteria, we were together every moment. Maybe we looked too lovey-dovey. That must be why news of us spread so quickly across campus. I leaned against his arm as we browsed the shelves. Plushies, stickers, trinkets. Then, Tucked in the corner, I spotted it, a jar of paper stars. Memories rushed back. Birthdays at the orphanage never came with cakes. We learned to celebrate with whatever scraps we had. For us, folding stars was the highlight. I wished to get into college. I wished to make lots of money. I wished for Nick and Lucy to be together forever. Life was simple then. Hard, but pure. Tyler paid for our snacks, then turned back to the shopkeeper. 2 strips of colored paper, please. 4 folding stars. I couldn't help but laugh. Why are you so childish? But Tyler's expression was serious. Just like before, he folded a star carefully, then placed it into my palm. Taking the one I folded, he slipped it into his pocket. Then he leaned in suddenly, his breath warm against my cheek. Lucy. His fingers traced lightly across my skin. Don't move away. His kiss fell, quiet and gentle, like starlight on a winter night. Later, I realized he had sneakily taken a photo. Tyler. I lunged at him, trying to snatch his phone. Are you crazy? What's there to take a picture of? He only grinned, a rare flash of mischief. I need to mark my territory. He'd seen the comments too. Even if he didn't take them seriously, he wanted to prove them wrong. We're not love at first sight. We're childhood sweethearts. That night, he posted 2 photos, one of us kissing under the stars, and one of the folded stars resting in our palms. His caption was only a single line. We won't break up. We'll be together forever. After Tyler walked me back to my dorm, I collapsed onto my bed and closed my eyes. Considering how popular he had already become, I knew the photos would be screenshotted and plastered across the campus forum within minutes. Every year, a handful of students stood out, becoming the faces of the academy. I never imagined that one day, that spotlight would fall on the boy I grew up with. Sleep was just beginning to tug at me when my phone rang. Drowsily, I answered. Lucy. Jake's not feeling well. Can you come pick him up? The voice was familiar, though it took me a moment to place it. One of Jake's rich friends, someone who'd been at his birthday party. I blinked in disbelief.
What?
Doesn't he have parents? Friends? Family? Teachers? Counselors? Why call me? Silence. Then the boy's tone softened. He's been calling your name. I hung up immediately. But before long, a message appeared. Come down. Or, we might just find your counselor tonight. They had actually driven Jake to my dorm.
Typical.
Their tone was as arrogant as ever. I really didn't want to deal with this. But it was already past 10, only half an hour before the dorm doors locked for the night. My roommates were early sleepers. 2 were already lying down with face masks on. I didn't want to disturb them. So, reluctantly, I put on a coat and went downstairs. The winter air was bitterly cold. Under the dim glow of the streetlight stood Jake. A gray trench coat draped over his frame. His head bowed slightly as he turned a silver lighter in his hand. A small red flame flickered on and off, lighting the sharp lines of his profile. Hearing my footsteps, he lifted his gaze. For an instant, I thought his eyes looked fragile, confused, even sad. Lucy. His voice was low, roughened by alcohol. It's just a game. Was it really worth being so serious? He took a step toward me, slow and heavy. Taller than me by half a head, his shadow fell over mine. The faint smell of alcohol lingered between us. He had definitely drunk a lot. Even his gaze was hazy, unfocused. With a clumsy motion, he pulled out his phone, scrolled for a moment, then shoved the screen in front of me. It was a screenshot from Tyler's moments, a photo of us embracing, kissing beneath the night sky. His lips curled into a mocking smile. Lucy, do you even understand what a game is? Why act like this? Acting? Jake, since when did you become so pathetic? My voice was cold. I sighed and tried to explain. You're mistaken. Tyler and I aren't what you think. I genuinely. Before I could finish, he suddenly leaned in. His left hand clamped over my mouth, smothering my words. His phone slipped from his right hand, crashing to the ground, while his thumbs pressed hard against my lips, rubbing as though trying to erase something. Enough. His voice cracked, ragged with anger. You're really sick, Lucy. It was just a bet. And you let him kiss you? Are you stupid? Tomorrow, yes, tomorrow, I'll tell Tyler everything. I'll tell him this was all a lie. His final words came out almost as a shout. His eyes were bloodshot, locked on me without a blink. I tore myself free and smacked his hand away. Wasn't you who suggested I confess on Emma's behalf during Truth or Dare? Jake. What are you pretending to care about now? He froze, as if stunned by my words. His fists clenched tight, then slowly relaxed at his sides. I glanced at the time. It was nearly 10:30. The dorm's supervisor leaned out from the hall and barked, "Mind the time. Doors are about to close. Boyfriends and girlfriends, stop hanging around acting lovey-dovey." Jake's face flushed faintly. I didn't bother to read into it. Pulling my coat tighter around me, I turned to leave. "Lucy." I stopped, exasperated. "What now?" "The jar of stars you gave me on my birthday," he said, his voice oddly tentative. "You didn't give it to someone else, did you?" Clearly, he had seen the second photo Tyler posted. He came just to confirm. "No," I answered flatly. For a second, I saw the tension in his face ease, like a silent relief. But I didn't indulge it. How could I give Tyler a secondhand gift? I added coldly, "Those stars I gave you. I threw them out the same night, after the birthday party." Back in my dorm, lying in bed, I picked up my phone. Today's encounter stirred memories I had pushed aside. The confession during Truth or Dare, the task I had meant to clear up immediately. But when I learned Nick had returned, I let it drag on, forgetting entirely. And Jake's friends, annoying, unbearable. I had no reason to be around them anymore. Opening WeChat, I found the group they had pulled me into. More than 99 unread messages flooded the screen, but I didn't bother to read. I left the group in one tap. Then I typed a message to Tyler. "Can we meet tomorrow?" He replied instantly. "Of course. I was planning to wish you happy birthday at midnight. What kind of gift do you want? Should I prepare a surprise?" "Oh, tomorrow is my birthday." I had forgotten. After Lucy confessed to Tyler, she didn't contact me for several days. That had never happened before. Rumors spread across campus. Everyone said they were together. Even that temporary chat group, which had been created to mock her, had turned into a place where people were shipping them. Could it be love at first sight? Wow, didn't we actually help them? Honestly, Tyler looks great. Has Lucy really given up on Jake? I read a few comments before shutting the chat, irritation clawing at me. Could Lucy really fall for someone so quickly? She had always followed behind me, doing whatever I asked, never arguing. Stubborn, yes, but obedient too. Then Tyler's moments post shattered everything. I was at a bar a few days earlier, celebrating after taking over management of the company from my father. Laughter, music, the clinking of glasses filled the air. "Your family's business is only going to get bigger," someone said. "Once Shanghai Industries returns to the country, you and them will be fighting for the top spot in North City." "Shanghai Industries?" Another chimed in. "The founder's ancient, his eldest son's dead, and they don't even have an heir. How can they compete?" No, haven't you heard? Apparently, there's a second son. He got lost when he was young, but they've found him now." The noise was endless. One of my friends noticed me sitting alone and walked over, phone in hand. "Jake, want to see something interesting?" He chuckled, shoving the screen in my face. The photo was grainy, dimly lit. But I recognized her instantly. The long hair falling over her shoulders, her arms wrapped around someone. Lucy. It felt like a loud crash went off in my skull. The string I had been holding taut snapped violently. My ears buzzed, my hands trembled. "What is this?" I shot up, grabbing my friend by the collar. "What the hell is this?" People turned to stare. The bar owner hurried over, trying to calm me down. My friend, startled, shook his head. "Jake, you put Lucy and Tyler together. Don't tell me you regret it now. Isn't this just your own doing?" The words hit like lead. My strength drained. I slumped back into the seat and downed another glass of alcohol. He looked at me, hesitated, then asked, "Want me to call Lucy for you?" Of course she didn't come. Why would she? I laughed at myself bitterly. She really didn't want me anymore. Still, my friend tried to console me. "Don't be like this. I think Lucy's a serious girl. She wouldn't just fall for someone on a whim." But I couldn't shake the unease. Lucy and Tyler had only known each other a few days. She couldn't really be gone from me, could she? I knew Lucy's parents had passed away when she was very young. She grew up in an orphanage in the suburbs. The place still stood. The next morning I drove there. An older woman, maybe in her 50s, greeted me. She had worked there for more than 30 years. When I mentioned Lucy's name, she paused. "Oh, her. The girl who got into college 2 years ago." Her eyes swept over me, finally settling on the watch on my wrist, a limited edition, 7-figure piece. Her tone instantly brightened. "Come in, young man. We have plenty of her photos in the archive room. Inside, she showed me album after album. When she first arrived, she looked so sad every day. Later, in elementary school, she tied her hair in 2 little braids. Then in middle and high school, she grew into such a graceful young woman. She learned to dress herself up, put on makeup, wear beautiful dresses. Unknowingly, a smile tugged at my lips. At the last page, there was a group photo of all the kids leaving the orphanage that year. Lucy stood in the middle. Next to her, a tall, thin boy with short hair, glasses with narrow rims, and a small red mole under his right eye. My chest tightened.
Tyler.
The woman noticed my expression. She looked at me carefully and asked, "Young man, you wouldn't happen to be Lucy's boyfriend, would you?" I froze. My throat bobbed as I swallowed. "Yes." She sighed softly.
Oh.
Then the one next to her, he was Lucy's first love. "But you don't have to worry. Nick's already dead."
Dead.
The word left me mechanically. She nodded. "Plane accident. I heard he was rushing home for his girlfriend's birthday, even changed flights for it. Didn't make it back." My mind went blank. If the boy in the photo was gone, then who was the one I saw at school? A replacement? So Lucy, was it really that face? Was that why she chose him? Love at first sight? My fist clenched tight. And Tyler? Was he truly content being just the shadow of a dead man? If I told him, would he still be willing to stay? Since Nick's accident, I hadn't celebrated my birthday for 2 years. After all, apart from him, no one seemed to remember it. This year, Tyler reserved a private room at a Cantonese restaurant. He went to pick up the cake first, so I headed upstairs alone. I had barely sat down when a message arrived from an unfamiliar number. I went to the orphanage. "Break up with him, please." No signature. But it was obvious.
Jake.
That lunatic. I deleted the text and blocked the number. Just then, Tyler walked in, carrying a huge cake. "There's no way the 2 of us can finish this," I said, startled by the size. "If we can't, take it back to your roommates," he answered with that same gentle smile he had always had. Whether in the past or now, Tyler was always so thoughtful. His gaze was warm, steady. My chest tightened. "Tyler, I need to tell you something." But before I could continue, he interrupted with a soft firmness. "Tell me after midnight. Tonight we're only celebrating your birthday." He placed the ordering tablet into my hands. "First, pick what you want to eat." I lowered my head. Was it really that serious? But then I saw the prices. What? 2,000 yuan per person? Are you crazy? "It's fine." "How is this fine? That's like 2 months of your living allowance." He chuckled lightly. "Doesn't matter."
No.
"Let's change to another place." The door to the private room swung open. "Lucy, come home with me." He was still wearing the same coat from the last time I saw him, only now wrinkled from travel. His eyes were darkened with fatigue, heavy circles under them. Cold mist trailed in behind him. His gaze swept across Tyler and landed squarely on me. I turned my head. I didn't want to look at this lunatic. Tyler stood immediately, gripping my hand, stepping between us. His voice was calm, but carried an edge of authority. "What do you want with my girlfriend?" "Girlfriend." The word struck Jake like a spark on dry wood. His composure cracked. He lunged forward and grabbed Tyler by the collar. "Are you insane? What did you call her?" His voice was low, furious, desperate. Tyler's veins bulged against his wrists, but his tone stayed steady. "I'm telling you," Jake spat, "the reason Lucy confessed to you that day was because I told her to. Do you think she likes you? It's only because your face resembles the boy she grew up with. That was it." Tyler's patience snapped. He kicked Jake hard, and in an instant, the 2 of them were fighting. My birthday celebration ruined in seconds. Of course, I sided with Tyler. Grabbing a small potted plant from the table, I swung it straight at Jake's back. "Hey, how dare you hit my boyfriend?" "To be honest, I've wanted to hit you for a long time." Jake froze. He turned, staring at me in disbelief. His face was twisted with confusion, even helplessness. "Lucy, what did you just say?" I had almost never seen him like this. He stumbled back, leaning against the tea cabinet. A glass toppled and shattered, cutting his arm. Blood dripped steadily down, dark and sharp against his pale skin. His head hung low, like a child abandoned. Silent, lost. It was Tyler who broke the silence. "I don't know where you heard those rumors. But the boy who grew up with Lucy, that was me. There was never anyone else." Jake's head snapped up. "What are you saying?" He's dead. The air froze. Tyler slowly sat down, took a deep breath, and covered his face. I know. It was Lucy who saved me. For the first time, I heard Tyler's story in full. After the plane crash, he hadn't died. He had fallen into a coma, a motionless shell. The rescue team had pieced together his identity, his blood type, his family, everything. By some miracle, they found his family. And then a strange mechanical voice in his head. You are the one Lucy wants to save. Don't worry. As long as she completes her side character missions, you will wake up. During that time, he could hear fragments of my voice. I can't believe I have to write a paper for that jerk Jake. So annoying. When is this basketball game going to end? I still have to cheer for him. Hold on, Lucy. Just 2 more tasks and Nick will be back. Confess, Nick. You're coming back, right? A tear slipped out from between Tyler's fingers, sliding down the curve of his cheek. When he finally lowered his hand, I realized his entire face was wet with tears. Tyler drew in a shaky breath, his voice trembling. The moment you agreed to confess for someone else, I woke up in that hospital bed. And I thought, am I really worth all of this to you? For a while, silence weighed heavy in the room. Jake stood in the corner like a man stripped bare by the wind, pale and hollow. His blood still dripped from his curled fingers, but he didn't move, didn't speak. At last, without a word, he turned around and walked out. That was the last time I ever saw him. Life with Tyler settled back into a rhythm. Classes, dates, the ordinary days that didn't feel so ordinary anymore. One afternoon, he surprised me with news. His parents, his real parents, were the founders of China Industries, the couple who had built a business empire from nothing. I had read about them in magazines, always with a sense of awe. Yet, Tyler only smiled and stroked my hair when I brought it up. They just came back to the country. How about I take you home to meet them? I stiffened a little. They won't look down on me, will they? He laughed softly. No way. His parents had returned not only to see him, but to hand over the reins of the company. In the suburbs, they had bought a villa where they spent their days planting flowers, growing vegetables, rescuing stray cats and dogs. When I visited, the house was filled with the warmth of home. Tyler's mother kept putting food into my bowl, her smile tender. Lucy, eat more. From now on, think of this as your home.
My home.
Tyler squeezed my hand under the table, his fingers locking tightly with mine. He smiled, his eyes carrying the same promise his words could never fully hold. I still stayed in the dorm until graduation. One evening, Tyler drove me back, and as I stepped inside, I noticed a new package waiting on the table. Hey, one of my roommates said, did you hear Emma got caught cheating on her retake exam? Seriously, another gasped. No wonder. She always seemed a little shady. Their chatter filled the room. Word is, she'll have her graduation delayed. And her rumored boyfriend, Jake, he's leaving the country in a few days.
What?
Rumored boyfriend, someone asked. It's already clarified, came the reply. Turns out there was nothing between them at all. Amid their gossip, one girl handed me the package. Lucy, I saw your name on it, so I brought it back. I thanked her and examined it carefully. The sender's name was blank. Flipping it over and over, I found nothing suspicious, so I opened it with a knife. Inside was a single letter. The night breeze slipped through the open window, scattering stars across the sky, carrying with it the brightness of the moon. I unfolded the page. The first line was short, I am Jake. Beneath it, a large blot of ink spread, as if his hand had hovered for a long time before he wrote again. Lucy, the words continued, these past 2 years.
I'm sorry.
I often wonder, if I had treated you a little better, if I hadn't asked you to run errands, to confess on behalf of others, would you have hesitated a little longer before leaving? I stared at the words until they blurred. My mind replayed that night on my birthday when Jake had learned about Tyler and me. He had leaned against the cabinet, his head bowed, his lips moving softly. His voice had been so quiet I almost thought I had imagined it. So what then, Lucy? So these past 2 years, what did I mean? I folded the letter gently and placed it back into the envelope. Just then my phone rang. It was Tyler. Lucy, when will you come by again? You just left, but my parents are already asking about you. I smiled, warmth filling my chest.
Sure.
Tell me what they like. I'll bring something next time. The future stretched ahead of us, long, unknown, but full of promise. And I believed, with all my heart, that everything would only get better from here.